A woman was undressing, preparing to immerse herself in the pool. But just as she dipped into the water, a man suddenly approached from behind. His eyes locked onto her bare back, radiating desire and possessiveness. However, just as he was about to make a move, the entire body of water in the pool suddenly rose into the air and enveloped the woman. In zero gravity, she couldn't struggle and quickly began to suffocate. Despite her frantic efforts, she couldn't escape the heavy mass of water pressing against her body. She barely managed to stretch one arm out of the water before gradually losing consciousness due to lack of oxygen. Fortunately, at that very moment, the ship's power system unexpectedly restarted. Gravity returned, and both she and the mass of water fell back into the pool, narrowly escaping death. This took place aboard the Avalon, a spaceship carrying 5,000 passengers on a 125-year colonization journey through the stars. In autopilot mode, all passengers were in a state of cryosleep. A forward energy shield was supposed to keep the ship safe, but a massive asteroid suddenly appeared, nearly destroying everything. Though the ship wasn't severely damaged, the system malfunctioned, causing one cryo chamber to open prematurely. The man woke up in shock and received a system message stating the journey was almost over, but he quickly realized that only he and one AI had been awakened. At the control center, he discovered that he had been awakened 95 years too early. Without cryoprotection, for a man in his 40s, it was no different than waiting for death. Refusing to accept his fate, he pleaded with the AI to put him back into cryosleep, but lacking captain-level access, his only option was to send an emergency message to Earth. Sadly, the ship had traveled too far, and it would take 55 years for a response to arrive. He resorted to learning how to repair the ship using the onboard manuals. After numerous attempts, he managed to reactivate a cryopod. He hurried inside, hoping to return to sleep, but the pod didn't respond, nearly suffocating him instead. All efforts were in vain. Resigned to his bitter reality, he began to live out what he thought were his final days in solitude. One day, he saw someone at the bar and rushed over, only to realize it was just a bartender robot. When he asked about returning to cryosleep, he learned the system had no restart function. That absurd design drove him to fury and despair. He tried everything to break into the cockpit, but nothing worked. From then on, he survived by talking to the robot and inventing ways to entertain himself. Though he tried to act normal, time slowly eroded his spirit. In less than a year, he became disheveled, drinking every day, staring at the sleeping passengers with envy, wishing they'd all share his fate. In a fit of rage, he threw a bottle and accidentally discovered 2 advanced space suits stored nearby. He decided that before dying, he would go outside and gaze at the universe one last time. Stepping out of the ship, he activated the magnetic boots and hurled himself into the vast void. Surrounded by the majestic beauty of the stars, loneliness and despair consumed him. None of the celestial bodies were Earth, his home. When he returned, he was even more hopeless. He stripped off his clothes, ready to offer his body back to the universe that had created him. The fear of death overwhelmed him. He collapsed on the cold floor, crying uncontrollably. But when he finally stood up, a surge of willpower rose within him. His eyes turned cold and resolute. Calming himself, he tidied up his appearance and used everything he had learned to unlock the woman's cryo chamber. But at the very moment she was about to wake up, the once excited man suddenly trembled with fear. Realizing that what he had done was no different from stealing her entire life, he knew it was too late to undo it. Taking responsibility for his actions, he quickly cleaned up all his tools before she could wake, then hurried back to his room, pretending nothing had happened. After a brief moment of guilt, he pulled himself together, sought her out, and took her to the observation room. There, he subtly revealed the grim fate awaiting them both. Upon learning the truth, she reacted violently, just as he once did. She went into a rage, destroying everything in sight, desperately trying to find a way back into cryosleep. Now, he played the role of comforter. He helped her calm down, quietly listened to her talk about her past and her pain. Like him, she soon accepted reality and began to adapt to it. Having someone to share this life with, the two gradually fell in love and eventually entered a passionate relationship. The vast, magnificent universe, filled with beauty Earth could never offer, only made their love more romantic.
That was amazing.
But even joy could not erase the lingering dread. Jim constantly lived in guilt and fear, though he still boasted to the bartender robot that he and Aurora no longer kept secrets from each other. But the robot didn't understand what secrets were. While Jim was in the restroom, preparing to propose, the robot accidentally revealed, "Jim is the one who woke me up." Aurora was stunned. Realizing it was Jim who had awakened her, she exploded in fury, unleashing her anger on him. He stayed silent, too ashamed to defend himself. But her rage only grew. She smashed everything in sight, stormed into his room, and beat him mercilessly. Holding a metal rod in her hand, perhaps she still had feelings for him, so she didn't strike. But she could not forgive his selfish cruelty and declared their relationship over. Rejected, Jim refused to give up. He kept sending apologies through the ship's PA system. But his desperate pleas only made Aurora more furious.
The night I first saw you, I was ready to... You saved my life. And I know that's no excuse for what I did. I fell in love with you. And I wish I could take it back.
I don't care why you woke me up! You took my life!
Just as their bond completely shattered, the ship's system began to fail. Then they discovered, they were not alone on the ship. Another person had woken up, the ship's captain. With his authority, they were finally able to access the cockpit. The captain found out they were still 88 years away from their destination, and the ship wouldn't survive that long. He led the two to inspect the systems. When they reached the cryo area, he learned the truth: Jim was the one who had awakened Aurora. But seeing that Jim was honest and remorseful, the captain said nothing more and returned to the cockpit to continue finding a solution. Knowing he wouldn't live much longer due to being awakened early, the captain left his final words.
You two take care of each other. Find out what's wrong with her. My ID. Fix the ship.
Before he passed, he handed Jim a wristband, the highest authority on the ship. From that moment, the fate of the ship rested in their hands. Right after, a critical system failure occurred. The ship lost gravity, flinging both of them into the air before slamming them back down. Ignoring their pain, they rushed to the site of the malfunction, following the captain's instructions.
Warning, please secure all doors. Warning, dangerous oxygen level. Please secure all doors. Dangerous oxygen. Pressurizing cabin unsuccessful.
Jim quickly sealed a breach to stabilize the oxygen supply. But upon further inspection, they discovered a chunk of asteroid lodged in the cooling unit of the reactor. Flames had been burning unnoticed for some time. It was an extremely dangerous situation. If left alone, the ship could explode. Jim installed a backup chip to restart the reactor, but the cooling bay door wouldn't open. He decided to risk everything, removed a metal door, donned his old spacesuit, handed the wristband to Aurora, and stepped outside to manually open the gate.
Jim, come back to me. I can't live on this ship without you.
Knowing he had no chance of survival, his tether was cut, and his suit was damaged, Jim chose to sacrifice himself to keep the door open.
I think I have to stay here. Hold the door open.
Jim! If I open the door right now, it'll kill you!
Warning, temperature level exceeded.
I don't care! You die, I die!
There are 5,000 other people on this ship, Aurora.
Maximum pressure reached.
We have to do this. Do it. Now. Aurora, I'm sorry.
Shut up, I'm coming!
Aurora didn't give up. She risked her life, flew out, and dragged him back into the medical pod. The system reported that Jim had no signs of life. Just as the machine was about to shut down, she activated emergency authority with a wristband. The machine roared to life, operating at full capacity, and miraculously pulled Jim back from the brink of death. He survived.
You brought me back.
And discovered that the medical pod had another hidden function. It could induce cryosleep. But there was only one chance left. Jim chose to give it to Aurora, as a way to make amends.
You'd be alone,
I've been alone before.
but I would never see you again.
I'll come and visit you.
Tuesday's my day with Arthur. What's that?
I wanted to give you for a long time.
It's beautiful. Took you long enough to ask.
I'll wait.